You know what really annoys me is when I go through Facebook, Twitter, or even YouTube, and I come across videos about mentally challenged children who get arrested. So, and like I've come across probably well over maybe 20, maybe 30 in the last couple of years. It seems like every few days you see something like that happen, right? But a lot of the time the media doesn't cover it. But I know for a fact this does happen quite a lot too. I've heard about it through channels, I've done research, and what it's really about is not the fact that they get arrested for standing up for themselves. It's not the fact that they go to jail. It's the fact that they get charged, right? That doesn't make much sense to me. Being a mentally disabled man right now, and I grew up a mentally disabled kid. I always used to get bullied and stuff too. But I never got arrested for standing up for myself, which I did, a couple times, but that didn't really do anything, they still bullied me. I went to 4 high schools and probably 11 different public schools. I moved around a lot. But that's not the point. The point is the stigma is so high around those of us who suffer from mental health issues or suffer from disabilities. And why though? Why are we allowing kids to get charged for standing up to themselves against bullies because they have a mental health condition or a mental disability, or even they're just disabled in general, right? I remember a couple years ago too was one kid who recorded himself where he was getting bullied because no one would believe him, and he ended up getting charged. He went to trial and everything. So what kind of backward society is this? Is the stigma that bad that kids who are going through hell as it is at home, probably at school, and then they get bullied on top of that, and the one time they try and put their foot down and stand up for themselves, they get shut down and then they go to prison? Does that make any sense? But that's not even the main thing too, right? In this city, for example, well, really in any city, but I'm using this city, Toronto, because I've heard it come through the channels a lot. I've seen stories. I've heard people talking about it through grapevines. It's parents who call the police on their kids because they're acting out, and these are kids they know who have mental disabilities. They're having trouble coping. They deal with stress at home, they deal with stress at school. Most of the time they're probably getting bullied, right? And when they break, yes, they get violent. Okay. Yes, they can't control themselves. Okay. But, okay, so you call the police to come and help you. There's nothing wrong with that either, right? You can call for help because you're supposed to, right, in those kind of situations. But when it goes a step further and you have parents who allow their kids to get charged because of how they acted out at home, that's where you should draw the line. Because once you cross that line, your child's life is basically over. Whatever chance of a future they had, it's over, because now they have a record. Their name is probably going to be in a newspaper or on the news for what they've done, because media will flip the story and make it be like, oh, for example, I'll use one from a book I read. Oh, he had a knife. He tried to stab a cop when the cop was trying to hold him down. Right? Media will flip things. No matter whatever your intentions are, when it comes down to it, mentally disabled children and even teenagers, they shouldn't be getting charged for something they can't control. Especially if the parents, for example, aren't doing anything, or they're not getting enough help, right? I mean, you can't fully blame the parents. It depends. You don't know the situation, all right? But when it comes down to it, kids shouldn't have to pay basically with their life. Right? If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. Now, from the school side, if a kid is going to get charged for standing up to bullies, for example, after they've probably told the principal, they probably told their teachers, they've probably told their parents, but the parents I'm not going to really touch for this part. But if that's the case, the teachers that they've told who haven't done nothing, the bullies, and even the principal, if they've went to the principal, they should be held liable too, right? Again, the schools shouldn't have to take that next step to go and have one of their students charged who is disabled and they're just trying to stand up for themselves. It doesn't make any sense. It's not fair, it's inhumane, and it's against their human rights. Now, I know it probably sounds like I'm a ranting fish, but this video is just something I want to talk about because I came across an article yesterday on Facebook about this 9-year-old kid who got arrested for standing up to bullies. So, and that's the thing, it happens a lot. A lot of the stories, they don't get published in media, but it happens a lot. I've read the books, I've done my research, and I've experienced it too. I've seen it. I had a lot of friends I grew up with who had severe mental issues probably get arrested and charged maybe 3 or 4 times for things they can't control. Like one time, my friend, he ran out of medication and he had like severe ADHD, and I was on the receiving end of that. I said something dumb, he got mad, he attacked me, but I chose not to do anything. Like, you know what, I know what he's dealing with. He doesn't have his meds, you know. The principal's like, oh, do I want to charge him? I'm like, no, I'm not going to charge him. He doesn't need to get arrested. He doesn't need to go to jail, because that high school too, we had cops there. I'm like, you know what, just send him home, let him get his meds, and that's whatever. He came back like 2 days later, apologized. I'm like, it's fine, right? I'm not going to do anything to ruin your life when you just had a bad day. Sometimes it's just a bad day too, right? But it depends on the situation, right? The bottom line, kids shouldn't get charged for standing up for their rights, standing up for themselves when the teachers don't want to do it. The teachers aren't doing anything, the principal isn't doing anything, and maybe the parents aren't even doing anything. When it comes down to it, if you're a mentally disabled kid, you're a mentally disabled teenager, like still in high school and stuff, you shouldn't get charged for standing up for yourselves. Like, that's how backwards this society is. That's how dumb the stigma is. You know, and if this has happened to you, you know anyone that this has happened to, let me know. I'd love to hear your story, because this is something they have to change. It's getting out of hand, and I see, like, as like the years progress, or as like, yeah, pretty much as the years progress, you can see like more and more of these stories are coming up. So who's really at fault here? The justice system, that's another story, but when it comes down to it, parents and teachers, right? If you need help, get help, right? But again, don't let it get to that third step where your child ends up getting charged for standing up for themselves. Like, the stigma is real. That's all I can say. The stigma is real, and I guess, you know, hopefully one day that wall will break down and people will think of us in a different light. But for now, all we can do is fight the fight. And I thank you guys for tuning into this video, and I'll see you in the next one.